Welcome to Animated Tops and Flops, where we dive into the best and worst episodes of your favorite animated series. My name is Alyssa.
And my name is Janice. Thank you for joining us on our tour of Springfield as we dive deeper into the world of The Simpsons. With us today is our very special guest, Bish, writer, director extraordinaire. Bish, would you like to introduce yourself? How big of a Simpsons fan are you? Give us the deets.
Huge, Janice. I am a gigantic Simpsons fan. I was born, I think, a month after they started airing. My dad had watched them from the Tracy Ullman show and followed them over. So they have been on since I've been alive. Our household was Simpsons trivia. It was every night for us, at least 2 episodes. So, I cannot, let me just not understate how much this informed where I currently am in life and in my career in comedy.
I love that.
I love it.
It's so cute. My family did trivia a lot too, so like TV trivia, so I totally get that.
Oh, I love this. I definitely have FOMO because that would have been so fun to test your family and kind of be like, you are eliminated. Goodbye. You didn't get it right.
It was fun until it became really competitive. And then you're like, well, now I got to make sure I win. And so you're just sitting there for hours on end watching the same animated series being like, I will not lose again.
I will not lose this. Listen, that was Monopoly. Our family threw down over Monopoly. Simpsons trivia was just reminding us of our favorite lines. We took it very unseriously. And I usually won. So maybe I'm just speaking for myself here. I mean, I was the reigning champ.
Oh, yeah. We got the winner's perspective.
Yeah. Call my sister. Ask her. She'll give you a different opinion.
I love it. Alyssa, would you like to tell us what top we are going to be going over today?
Yeah! I'm excited for this one. So our top is Season 6, Episode 6, Treehouse of Horror 5. And it is rated at a 9.2. What about our flop?
Yes, our flop is rated at a 5.4, Season 26, Episode 12, The Musk Who Fell to Earth. It is as musky as it sounds, and we'll get to that later. Nasty. I have opinions.
We all have opinions.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to talk about it.
We're going to get it. All right, Janice.
Yes, ma'am.
Hit us with that top synopsis.
Yes, I'm going to hit you up with that top synopsis. Okay, so for those of you who haven't watched The Simpsons in a while, you're maybe an kind of fan, or you're a diehard fan and you just have no idea what episode is what. I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of hard to keep track. There's so many. Here's a little synopsis for you. So, Marge opens up the show with a plea to the audience to beware of the chills and thrills ahead. We see a sound wave of Bart setting us up to introduce the Treehouse Horror 5 special. Opening credits on a graveyard with amusing tombstone, a hanged Moe, burning sisters at stake, a basket of guillotined heads, and ending on a zombie couch gag. We love a zombie couch gag, especially for our Halloween episodes. Our first act is a Shining parody, or The Shinning, if you don't want to get sued. And the second act was Time and Punishment. And the third act closed us out with Cafeteria Mayhem. This one, actually, I didn't find the title for. It just kind of went into the third bit, which I thought was interesting. We'll talk about that. But yeah, all of these 3 acts end with Bart waking up from his nightmare and his family surrounding his bed saying it's okay, nothing to be scared of here, except that fog that turns everybody inside out, and then everybody is turned inside out. There's a wonderful bloody musical number, and the end.
Beautiful.
That fog inside out scene scarred me as a child.
Oh my God.
It was so unexpected when it happened. I was just like,
it scarred me as an adult. I had blocked it out. It's like, oh, it's that fog that turns people inside out. And that line, I just sat up in my chair. I'm like, oh my God, that's right.
Yes, I rewatched it last night just to refresh and everything, and I was like, "Ooh, wow, that was a hard turn," but I kind of liked it. It was gruesome.
Bringing back trauma after 23 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good little end cap too, because it's a parody of One Singular Sensation from Chorus Line, which is what they do in the Tony Awards at the end of the shinning. So
Yes, it is.
Ah,
props to
Props.
them.
Okay.
That was a good callback.
Get it.
Love that.
Get it.
See, the Simpsons are such Broadway fans.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
they love
Oh, yeah.
Broadway. They're always throwing it in there.
Oh my gosh. And especially like the musical numbers. Always my favorite episodes are with those musical numbers.
Oh, yeah. What was your favorite musical number from the Simpsons archive?
Oh, I mean, I could sing the Monorail song backwards and forwards. I think that's everybody's answer. But Bart After Dark, where Bart works at the bordello, has
Yes!
that wonderful musical number. Oh my god, and I'm so sorry. Now it's just like sparking in my brain. But I think the one I think about the most is Stop the Planet of the Apes. I want to get off.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
I will just be sitting
Brilliant.
at my desk at work, which, by the way, this is my day job. This is where I am right now, the scariest place on earth. And I will just be sitting here and I'll be like, yes, they finally made a monkey. Finally made a monkey. Like, it just, like, it comes back because it's just, ugh, God, I love it.
Incredible. Incredible.
I love that your DJ earworm is just different Simpsons songs.
It is.
It's amazing.
Basically. And I annoy the crap out of my colleagues.
You know what? You say that, but like if it was me, I'd be like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Bish is like bopping over there. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do the full number. I put the spring in Springfield back to 4.
I love it. Yes. See, that would be my Freebird request every time is the monorail song. I'd be like, Bish, can you please sing the monorail song again? Now can you sing it backwards?
I would just be
Oh,
like, Bish, I'm having a bad day. Sing me a song.
Yeah, maybe the monorail again,
Sing me
Bish.
Monorail. Sing it till I feel something.
I found the cutest bluegrass version of that when I was doing some of the social media
Yeah,
posts
it was
this
so
week. I was like, this is a bop.
It
Like,
was really
this is-
cute.
It was a nice version. I love bluegrass. So I was like, bluegrass plus monorail equals genius. Genius in my book. I mean, I'm that target audience.
So good. I need to find that. Please, 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 if you posted that, I'll go look it up. Send it to me.
Oh,
that
yes.
sounds so fun.
I'll send it to you for sure.
That was good. That was good. All right, let's before we get into like show facts and favorite things, let's talk about the writer and the director of this episode. It's gonna be great. Okay, so the air date of this was October 30th, 1994. So it was right there on
Spooky.
Halloween. I know, be
Very
spooky, be
nice.
spooky. The director is our boy Jim Reardon.
Our boy.
We love Jim Reardon. He has done
The best episodes.
like
All of 'em.
a whole handful of our tops. He did supervise direct one flop, and we don't hold that against him because it's like he was, I don't know, training somebody how to like he's like, I'll push you on your little tricycle until you can figure out how to go by yourself.
Yeah, more like a mentor kind
Yeah,
of.
so we don't judge him on that one. But the ones where he just like fully directs it are just spectacular. And if you don't know, Jim Reardon has also directed and storyboarded things like WALL-E, Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Zootopia. So he is a big Disney boy.
Zootopia
yeah.
deserves so much more praise.
Dude, I'm so
Oh,
excited for
yeah.
Zootopia too. Yeah,
They're making a second one? Oh my god. That's
Oh,
really
yeah.
fun. That's
Okay.
awesome.
Can't wait.
There are 4 writers for this episode. There are 2 writers for Time and Punishment, 1 for Nightmare Cafeteria, which was the title given to that last segment.
I was close.
You were very close. So the 2 that wrote for Time and Punishment was Greg Daniels, which we
We love our Greg
also
Daniels.
love.
Yeah.
He has written and / created things like The Office, Parks and Rec. He wrote for King of the Hill, Space Force, SNL. Also, while I was looking him up, he has written 3 episodes for pre-production of King of the Hill 2025.
I want to know which ones those were because if it was that's my purse, I don't know you, I'm gonna lose my shit and I'm gonna be like, of course it was Greg Daniels.
I bet it was. I bet it was. What I was shocked is I didn't know they were revamping King of the Hill.
I did not know.
Like
had
he's
no
he's
idea.
he's marketed. He has on his IMDb King of the Hill until it was like, canceled. And then at the very top it says pre-production King of the Hill 2025.
Oh my
And it's
god,
like
that's
he has like 3
insane.
episodes under his name already.
Oh my god, my
I'm
jaw,
like,
my
I'm not
jaw.
surprised because I feel like it's been overdue to come back.
I agree.
And honestly, it kind of hits a bit more as an adult. As a kid, I was like, man, I don't really get this. I don't really like it. But as an adult, I'm like, it is good. It's good.
I
Oh my
didn't
god.
like it as a kid, so I never really watched it. So like I'm kind of excited because I assume we're gonna be doing a King of the Hill season, and like I'm excited to
Mhm.
like actually watch it.
It is really good.
I
Okay.
recently learned that apparently in Japan there is an argument between the subbed King of the Hill and versus the dubbed King of the Hill, which I just think is like so amazing.
There
Subs over
is.
dubs every time. Subs over
Yes.
dubs.
Oh my god, that's
Yes.
hilarious.
Yeah, because it's like if you do I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. This is very serious. But it's like if you do the dubbed if you do the dubbed version, apparently a lot of the Americanisms don't come through, whereas if you do the sub version, like there's it's more, because it's the show. So people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it feels more authentically American," which I just think is so funny.
That's so interesting. It's like people in America that, get upset about like anime sub versus dub.
Exactly. It's like this. It's like, oh, we are just really one planet and all the same humans, aren't we?
Oh, we're
Oh
just
my god.
trying. We're just living.
We are.
The second writer for Time and Punishment is Dan McGrath, who also wrote for King of the Hill and SNL. Our writer for Nightmare Cafeteria is David X. Cohen, who wrote Futurama, Disenchantment, and Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Mm.
our writer for The Shinning is Bob Cushall, who did The Muppets, The Tracy Morgan Show, and Third Rock from the Sun.
Uh,
So we have
okay.
like a stellar lineup of writers.
We got to vote right now on
Oh.
what your favorite trilogy was. What was your favorite
God.
sector of this? Was it Nightmare Cafeteria? Was it The Shinning? Or was it Time,
Ooh.
Crime, Time, and Punishment? I had a like double Freudian slip there.
Oh my
Time,
God.
crime, time.
Yeah.
Make me go last because
I can go first. I've thought a lot about this.
please, God.
I think they play in the order that they played. I think The Shinning is the best Treehouse of Horror segment. I will stand by that. It's the
I
one
agree.
that people think of. Yeah. Time and Punishment, I would not say is my second favorite Treehouse of Horror, but out of the three, I think it is stronger than Nightmare Cafeteria. Like just the fact that we can't remember the name. I think it's not a bad segment. I mean, there's a lot of jokes in there that I absolutely love. It's like well, I guess we're going to get into our famous moments later, but I like Time and Punishment just for the dumb toaster gag.
Oh my God. Love that toaster gag. I mean, that carried that section all the way through. Oh, that's
God.
interesting because I definitely agree that The Shinning was like my top. I think Shinning is number one for me. I would put Cafeteria as number two because I thought it
Interesting.
was just so creative how they're like, oh, the Utebraten,
Oh my God.
you know,
I love that moment.
and then he just comes out and says like, "You're eating udon." Like,
You might say that
Yeah.
we're eating him and he's in our stomach.
that we've ate him. Yeah. I'm like, I thought that escalation was just so like funny.
And he's like,
Um,
wait, forget that last part.
Yeah, you never heard anything. And then of course, I have to think about this before I say it. Time and Punishment is just it's so good, and all of the times Homer comes back, I was like, this is iconic every single time. When it's raining and there's donuts, I'm like,
Oh,
stop. He couldn't wait 2 seconds.
I know. I have in my notes like that crushes my soul. It like makes me so sad that he doesn't just like wait like 2 more seconds and then he could have had the perfect life.
I know.
Yes. Homer, you're so close.
I think what they should have done for that segment though is have like one live action universe where they had the voice actors actually dress up as the different characters.
Oh my God.
Like
I
that
feel
would be
like is there an episode where like that is kind of done?
there is an opener in the later seasons where they did a live action opening of the show, which was they did a really good job. That was
Yes.
I want to say season late teens.
I
is
remember
what I
this. I do
feel
remember
like.
this.
But yeah, could have been
Oh my
fun. That
gosh.
could have been a fun moment.
That could have been a fun moment.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll hear this and they'll go, "We should do that next."
We should do that. We should get everybody together.
I love that
And
tag.
reshoot those.
Tag Matt Groening now.
Right now.
Tag him.
I think I mean, I think the Shining's the best out of these, but then I think like Time and Punishment and Nightmare Cafeteria are just like equals in my brain.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, they're both fine. They both had really funny moments. I don't think one was better than the other.
That toaster gag where they're just having a nice breakfast, and just all of a sudden, Dad, your hand's stuck in the toaster every time. And I've seen this episode like probably over 30 times in my life, and every single time it just gets me.
I'm like still confused. Like, I think it's funny, but I'm like, how is it sentient?
No, it's just it's just
But
funny.
It's just a very strong inciting incident.
I was just very confused. I'm like, am I missing something?
And like there are some dumb choices. I was reading on the great source Wikipedia
Oh yes.
We love
about
it.
because there was one line that I didn't get where Homer's like, "I'm the first non-Brazilian person to travel
Same.
back in time,"
Yeah.
and I was like, what was that?" And I was like, maybe it was a cultural reference to like a Brazilian person who had claimed to travel back in time. That was like a tabloid thing in the 90s because that they did a lot based on that humor. But apparently it was supposed to be, "I'm the first non-fictional person
Yes.
to travel back in time," and then Peabody and the other boy's name I cannot remember
Sherman.
pop up. Sherman. Peabody and
Yes.
Sherman.
There you go.
Yeah,
you.
they changed it. I actually have this written down. The first time Homer travels back in time, he was originally supposed to state, "I'm the first non-fictional character to travel backwards through time." The line was later changed from non-fictional to non-Brazilian. Matt Groening was confused as to the reason for the change since he liked the original so much. In fact, he did not even understand what the new line implied. So we have no idea why it was changed. No idea.
Sit. I'm right with you, Matt. Me too. I would have given that same note. I
Yep.
will. He does seem like a cool boss to be like, "I don't get this, but okay, we can do it." Because yeah, it just is. It is a non sequitur, but it's a weird non sequitur.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
I-
really make a lot of sense.
I always thought that was a really weird line too.
Yeah.
Well, since we're already here, Bish, keep it rolling. What else do you love
Yeah.
about this episode?
Oh my god! Shh, you want to get sued is one of my favorite Simpsons lines, and we would quote it. So in my family, if you said a brand name, we would say, "Do you want to get sued?"
Oh my god, that's so fun.
It's the Scottish accent you just like immediately threw on that made it the best.
And let me tell you, that Scottish accent was worse as a kid. So it was even like
I'm sure it was adorable.
Yes, very.
I think Mike Myers in Shrek, once that movie came out, his Scottish accent really helped me with my imitation of
Mhm.
Willie.
Oh yes.
But yeah, oh my gosh. And then even like it just got me this time around too. The typewriter gag where she goes over and she's like, "This will be a window into his dark mind." And
Yeah.
it's like feeling fine.
Nothing else.
And she just like, oh.
Nothing else.
She's like, "Oh, okay." And then the lightning, like that was a really good. And I've only seen The Shining once in theaters, but I don't think they stole that from The Shining. I think they might have taken it from somewhere else. But when the lightning comes out and you realize it's written on the walls,
I
was like,
That was original to
Yeah,
The
was
Simpsons.
original.
I was gonna say I do
Yeah,
not
'cause-
believe that that's in The Shining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that was in The Shining. I do love The Shining, and I would suggest a rewatch of it. It's so good.
Movie marathon.
So good.
I saw it once in a movie theater, and I like that I only because I'm a huge Kubrick fan, and I
Yeah.
like that like for that film I kind of want to keep it going of only seeing it in movie theaters, but then I gotta wait for one to play
That's
it.
lovely.
Right?
Yeah.
You should just like go to Music Box and be like, listen.
I need you to play
Would
this
you
movie.
like for
Could you-
me?
Could you just throw it? You gotta have it in the back. Could you just throw it on?
You're like, I'll do my best Scottish impression for you.
Listen, do you like Groundskeeper Willie? Because I got grease me up, woman.
That was so good. That was so good.
Oh my god, that's from what's that one where the dog gets loose in the pipe?
Yeah,
he
and
has
he's
to go.
going through the fence. He's like, "Grease me up, woman."
Lunch Lady
So
Doris's
good.
expression in that moment is my heart and soul as an adult woman. She's just staring at him. She just goes, "Okie dokie."
Oh my god.
God, we love her.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, what about you guys? What were some of your favorite moments?
Janice, go. I know I like want to hear what you have.
They're bursting out my cheeks. The great play on the days of the week, the title cards at the very front when they're just trying to get to the fucking place.
Yeah.
And it's like Monday. And she's like, "Oh, I think we forgot to lock the door." And then they go back Tuesday. "Oh no, I think we left the dog." Wednesday. "Oh no, we left Grandpa."
Nothing.
Silence.
I know. What about Grandpa?
Poor Grandpa.
Oh my
Lee's
God.
always looking out for Grandpa. I think that's odd. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor. I thought that was brilliant. That
That's a
that
great
one
one.
gets me every time. Willie saying, "Don't be reading my mind between the hours of 4 and 5."
That's
That's
Willie's
Willie's
time.
time.
Oh my God.
I thought this was so freaking funny. I literally like had a guttural reaction this time, like last night. When Homer is like with the bat, like, "Look at me, I'm scary, and he's doing all those crazy things with his face, and he looks in the mirror, and then he passes out and like tumbles down the stairs.
Oh
He
my
screams. He's like, "Ah!"
God.
That got me. That got me so good.
That was some...
And then, sorry, last, television. When Lisa's like, "Look, Dad, television," and he's like, "Teacher, mother, secret lover."
It wasn't just that, it was secret lover.
Yes,
It was like
secret
deep in
lover.
there.
Brilliant, brilliant. I don't know what that trio was from, but I thought that was iconic, and I was like, I have to use that in all things that I love.
That's gonna be my new Instagram bio.
Teacher, mother,
Mother,
secret lover.
Dot, dot, dot.
Please do
I
this.
love it.
Oh my god. No, I love it so much. It's just everything like, it's such a well-written parody. They really do amazing. Like the Simpsons writers are amazing when it comes to parodying something specific, which is just
Yeah.
in full
Such a
force in
talent.
this episode.
Such a talent.
Oh,
Alyssa.
Yeah, are we just doing The Shining right now?
Just the Shining right
Okay,
now.
I just
sure.
wanted to
Why
check,
not?
Because
Why
you
not?
guys just mentioned
It's great.
I'm sorry, the Shining.
The
I don't-
Shining.
The
I don't want to
Shining.
get sued.
Don't get sued.
I don't wanna get sued. But yeah, so I will do my Shinnings. You guys already said a bunch. When Maggie spells red rum with her blocks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
When Homer opens the door and he's like, "Hello!" And it's just like so fast and loud and aggressive, and all he says is "hello, hello."
Oh my god.
All of those door sequences were brilliant.
Oh my god,
So
this is
good.
60 minutes.
Oh my god. That was my favorite. And I like as a child I had no idea who any of those people I had no idea who Maury Schaefer was, what 60 Minutes was, but I'm like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Just so damn specific.
They
So
they
damn
really hit
specific.
those rule of threes in this one, and it just works.
What was
Oh,
it?
yeah.
And then the I'm David Letterman. Hi David, I'm Grandpa.
Yeah.
Just such a good callback.
Grandpa made it.
I have two other lines that I absolutely love. When Marge calls the police and she goes, "Help, my husband's on a murderous rampage, over." And Clancy goes, "Oh, well, good thing that's over."
That's over.
Oh,
my
and-
God.
Wiggum.
And then when Homer's like, "Urge to kill fading, rising, fading."
Well,
A
just in
rage meter.
the Tony Awards coming on too, and he's like, and the cat being urged to kill rising.
Urge to kill rising.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my face. Okay.
I know it hurts.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Let's move on to what was next? Time and Punishment.
Mhm.
Yes.
Bish, time and punishment. Janice, time and
yes.
punishment.
That
Yes.
toaster gag. I mean, really, like it's so good. It's such a strong start to the episode. I absolutely love how Ned Flanders in the first one is like the Lord Supreme Master of the universe.
Yes, yes.
Re-education. So good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I love how like Bart. I just love the exposition where like Bart turns to him. He's like, "Don't you remember? Ned Flanders is the unquestioned supreme ruler," and it's like, there we go. We shoehorned that in.
Oh my god. Ned Supreme Witch.
Ugh.
Brilliant. I love the donuts falling from the sky. I just think
Great
that's
one.
so funny. And then he's like, Homer gets so fed up. He just starts ruining everything, and it's so much more closer to perfect, like, except for the tongue gag. And I'm like, I love it. Perfect end.
I also love the when he's like the wedding advice. I gotta remember what my dad told me on my wedding. If you ever travel back in time, don't change anything.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking that. I'm like, man, I wish I'd gotten that on my wedding.
Right?
Where was that advice?
And now you've traveled back in time and changed many things. So
I know, and
yeah.
If only.
If only.
My favorite, one of my favorite things, and I've mentioned this before, but I love when Kang and Kodos, we like zoom out of Earth and we are just like in their spaceship.
Yes.
Because I was telling Janice, they're very much like the old man Muppets that sit in like the back of the theater.
Yeah.
And like
perfect analogy.
This was like one of those perfect moments where that exactly happens. And they pull it back. They're like, foolish humans don't understand time travel. And then they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then eventually they turn into Peabody and Sherman. But
which is great.
I love those little bits
Brilliant.
of them when we just like zoom out from Earth.
I do. I love King and Kodos. And they're very well used in this episode. Some episodes they're a little bit shoehorned in, but this one, all the two houses, they do well.
I like when they're observers of Earth, not interfeeding in Earth. That's when I'm like, get out.
Get out
I
of
don't
here.
know.
Go write Futurama, David.
Right? Go write another incredible franchise.
You
God,
guys, be nice
out
to
of this one.
David. He just loves aliens so much.
Well, and the Nightmare Cafeteria was his first episode, I think.
Nightmare Cafeteria was his first episode.
Yes.
Look,
Brilliant.
what you look at you. You're like, oh, well, I'm gonna be quiet until we get to, like, I'm only gonna do the favorite things, and here you are, like, here's all these fun facts I know.
And here's the Wikipedia page I read right before I came on. But it's so cool because he has such a, I mean, we read his credits up front, but this guy, stuff that went on to be super influential.
Oh, yeah. I think Kif is one of the best aliens written for television. I mean, we love Kif.
We love Kif.
We love Kif.
But not only that, we love the Kif Zap Brannigan.
Yes.
Like, them together is one of my favorite things.
Oh,
It's
I
the
love
best
Zap
dynamic.
Zap Brannigan is just the Troy McClure of the future.
Yes!
It's so good. And he's like so great. It's a different spin on a similar character.
Oh my god.
I love it.
We were just saying how much we love Troy McClure.
Yeah.
God, I love Troy McClure so much. It's just the best. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from
such films as.
I just, I can spin off on that for days. So let's keep moving.
Let's go. Nightmare Cafeteria.
All right. Nightmare Cafeteria. I'm going to hit this one off. I love all of the cannibal puns with the food and the children. Yeah. Sloppy Jimbo, Uter Braten. I already said this earlier and gave it away at the top, but I just cannot get Skinner's like self-conversation to Bart and Lisa of, yeah, how do you like your Uterbraten? It's like we all have a little Uter in us. It's like we ate Uter. Forget I said that.
I just love
brilliant
that it's Oktoberfest. Like, just because he's German, it's like...
It was so well themed. It was so well themed with the children. Oh my god. And now to check on the free range children.
Oh my god.
The little
love too when Bart and Lisa run to Marge and she's like, "You're 8 and 10. I can't be fighting your battles. Just go and tell them not to eat you."
You go to your principal and you look them in the eye and say, "Don't eat me."
I mean, great advice. I mean, Marge has got enough on her plate. Amazing. Amazing.
Also just like, well, surely nothing will happen to us. Well, surely nothing will happen to us two Simpsons children.
I was watching
Brilliant.
that and I went, but what actually, like, I don't remember Uter being in like later seasons.
Uter does disappear. And
it made me sad.
It is kind of sad. I always wondered if the German audience like wrote too many letters.
This is an outrage.
It would be the German audience to write letters to and say, "Please stop."
This do not portray us in this. I can't do it.
You're being French.
I'm so French.
I'm so French.
And the shame is that I am actually German. My last name is a German last name, but we're so far removed at this point that I'm just mostly French accented.
There you go.
With my fake accent.
My fake French accent.
Love it.
Any other favorite moments from this whole episode?
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
We have to acknowledge Willie getting axed all 3
Dude,
episodes.
I forgot to say that.
Yeah,
that was
such
the
a
best.
good runner. Such a good runner.
And that is the
So
only
good.
time that they ever did something like this in one of their tree
I wish
houses.
they did it
Which is so
more.
sad.
That's what I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I must have missed them in the other ones. No, they just didn't do it.
Get creative. Come on, make him loop.
I also love that, and and like I said, I've seen this over 30 times, and I never realized that Mo hangs in the beginning, and then he comes as the ghost in the shinning, and I'm like, that's really clever that they like
Ooh.
kind of tied that in. Mhm.
Ooh. Okay, I didn't even realize that.
That's interesting.
Wow.
I didn't think about that either.
Right?
It is creepy how he opens his eyes to camera as soon as he falls and is like dead on the thing. He's like,
Yeah. And this was
I'm dead.
And it was so funny because this was such a violent. This was way more gory and violent than I remembered, and I was like, "Wow, my parents were usually very conservative. Let me watch this episode."
Let me tell you about this episode. David Merkin attempted to put as much blood and guts as he could into
Oh my
it
God.
because he was disappointed by complaints from Congress regarding the amount of violence in the show and their attempts for it to be censored. So this was all on purpose.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And you could tell they were having so much fun that they had to cut stuff out. So I got 2 fun facts for you.
Ooh.
There was a deleted scene in the DVD that takes place during the shinning, in which Bart is riding his skateboard through the halls, turns a corner, and sees Sherry and Terry, who's saying,
Yeah.
"Your father's gonna kill you." He runs away and turns another corner and sees Patty and Selma, who tells him, "It's true, you know."
I remember that scene.
Yeah?
I
Yeah.
do remember that scene. I'm pretty sure it wasn't deleted until like years later. They took it out for like commercial time and whatever. But like I do remember that scene.
It might
They
have.
should have left it in. This is
It-
what I'm saying. Streaming services, like, give us the full cut.
Well, and give us the right aspect ratio, Disney Plus.
God
Like,
damn it, Disney!
It's
Come on,
y'all
Disney.
mooshed.
Keep it out.
It like Hulu did it when The Simpsons was on Hulu. They at first had 16 to 9, and then they gave you the option. Like eventually, they did upload the 4 to 3, and you could choose. And this is nerd shit, and I'm sorry,
We love it. Bring it.
but I don't understand because Hulu and Disney are owned by the same company. Why, when I was on Hulu, did I have the option to do 4-3, and now when it's on Disney, I am stuck with 16-9 because it's so
It sucks.
and you miss gags. And it's, as a director, it is so frustrating that you can spend so much time on something and have it cropped.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was
Yes.
a big complaint. Like immediately when Simpsons became part of Disney Plus, that was like the one thing people kept saying is like things are cut out. Parts of the scenes are cut out. And they did nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they also, I think, edited at least one scene, I want to say. Like, they did kind of censor there was a Catholic joke in I can't remember what episode. It's the Super Bowl ad, and it makes fun of Catholicism, and I believe Disney Plus cut it out, or like
We're gonna censor that, but air
Okay.
the like Israel episode.
Right.
Like,
yep.
I know, that's exactly what I thought. I was like,
Yep.
excuse me?
what?
Who's in charge of censoring this shit? Because it's all over the place.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
Speaking of censoring, the Simpsons censorship in different countries is exceedingly interesting. And my
Ooh.
one little anecdote about that is I was watching The Simpsons in Israel, and there was a joke where Rod and Todd, it's like Flanders loses his way and he has a nightmare about like I think it was like something like premarital sex and like what would happen if he went down that path. And he had this nightmare dream where like his sons roll up and they're like, we've sold our souls to Hollywood and also we're Jewish. And that's the joke. And Flanders is like, no. When I was in Israel, they cut out and we're Jewish.
That makes sense.
It does, but it's just so interesting. Different countries censor The Simpsons differently, which is fascinating to me. But
Interesting.
thankfully, Congress didn't censor Treehouse of Horror 5, and we got it. We got it.
You can't
on air.
censor this. This is a
No.
gem.
No.
Okay, so the second scene, according to the DVD commentary, at Nightmare Cafeteria, there was a scene written but not used in which Sherry and Terry were served as lunch. The meat is named teriyaki with sherry sauce.
Oh my god,
They
that's
could have
so
gone out for
clever.
days.
That's
I was
so
going to say, like,
clever.
I would have loved to see that.
Yes.
Even if it was just like a menu list for the week and it just had those little bits on
Oh my
there, like
gosh,
that's all I
yes.
would
Good
need.
idea.
That's all I would have needed.
Yeah.
You know, I love a list.
Yeah.
Yes. We could have had
Oh
them
my gosh.
all. All right, loves. What do we think about this episode? Do you think it deserves the 9.2 rating? Does it deserve to be higher? What are your final thoughts?
Oh, I think it deserves every ounce of that 9.2 rating. I do think this is the strongest, like, just because the Shinning is in it and the other two are solid, I think this is the strongest Treehouse of Horror episode.
I think it should be higher. I don't know if this is the strongest. I have a very, very soft place in
Ooh.
my heart for the Treehouse of Horror that parodies The Raven, with Bart as the
Oh,
Raven. Like, there's
Yeah.
something about that I just love very, very much. But this one is like ingrained in my brain specifically because of the skin turning inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So I would maybe rate it higher, maybe like a 9.6, somewhere up there.
Oh.
And like, I have two fun facts before I ask you what your favorite thing is, Janice. Only
Yeah.
because I was talking about the skin turn inside out. So when Marge's skin turns inside out, her hair is still on her head.
So true.
That's
And it's like,
so funny.
what?
What?
And I thought that was weird. And then Danny Elfman composed the theme music for this episode.
No way.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Of course.
I know,
Yeah.
right? That was it.
Of course.
Uh,
I
Janice,
love that.
Janice, give us your thoughts on the rating.
Yes. Well, I believe this is a fantastic Treehouse of Horror. However, I know I've stated this a couple of times.
Janice has a favorite.
I had to have a favorite.
And it's a new one.
God,
It is a new one. It won
really?
an Emmy.
Mhm.
Treehouse 33. So
Okay.
that's where they parody the Babadook, Death Note, and Westworld. And I thought it was so brilliantly done. It gives you everything you wanted of old Simpsons, but still with like the new, like, I thought this parody like really
Mhm.
brought it back home where it needs
Mhm.
to be. And I think that one is like my favorite. But I
Nice.
think this should be rated a little bit higher. I think this is a fantastic episode. I mean, the Willie Axe thing, I mean, come on. That's so South Park. Like,
It is.
it's like, you kill
It's-
Kenny.
And we didn't even mention James Earl Jones.
Oh my God, his
Voicing
one little bit
Maggie?
in this, just
Incredible.
amazing.
Incredible.
Janice, Bish,
Yes.
let's move on to our flippity flop.
Woo!
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right. For a reminder, because we were so heavy in the top, because obviously, our flop is season 26, episode 12, The Musk Who Fell to Earth. Janice, let me finish this.
Sorry.
Rated at a 5.4. Okay, continue.
My mind is just in the gutter today. I thought that was funny. Said we're top heavy.
Boobies.
Boobs.
Boobs.
Okay. Janice, hit us with that
Yes.
flop synopsis.
You got it. All right. Where the frick is it in my notes? There we go. Okay. Opening credits on Bumblebee Man. No idea why. Lisa feeds some helpless birds around this. Was the birdhouse built before then? No, it wasn't.
It was just a
It was
birdhouse.
just there.
It was just a
Yeah.
birdhouse, right? Okay. So there's this birdhouse, and it's there, and Lisa is feeding some birds, and a bald eagle, swoops in and eats the birds. It then attacks Homer, and Homer catches the eagle in a plastic bag. The whole family ends up setting the bald eagle free, and Elon Musk's rocket sets it on fire and incinerates it. Elon Musk's rocket lands in Homer's backyard. Elon follows Homer to work, trying to come up with new inventions, and Elon drops suggestions in Burns' suggestion box and ends up working at the power plant and improves Springfield with his inventions and technology, losing Burns $50 million a quarter. Burns assembles a hit team to get rid of Musk while Homer plans to end their relationship because this challenge just isn't ready for all of this tech. It's not ready for Musk. They're just not ready. They're kind of set in their ways. So Elon goes back up to space. The end.
And they
I
licensed Starman for that.
They did.
They did.
I'll take it. I just love that this whole thing started out with, okay, so there's a birdhouse.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, we're going. This is gonna be that kind of synopsis. And Jan's just like, I'm just gonna say it.
I'm just gonna say
Just
all the
gonna
things
run
that
through it.
happened because it wasn't very good.
No.
I have so many thoughts.
Before we
Yes.
do that, I want to the director and writer really
Go
quick.
for it. Yes,
Yes.
please.
This is gonna make y'all really upset, and I apologize in advance. Air date is January 25th, 2015. The director is Matthew Nastuck, who's only ever done The Simpsons, so nothing like crazy there. The writer, however, is Neil Campbell, who also wrote Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Comedy Bang Bang. He wrote a season of the Oscars, the Emmys, Between Two Ferns, and Robin Big.
You can't win them all.
You can. Oh, that's perfect.
I
Such-
feel like they got
perfectly
somebody
said.
that could do everything, because like writing for the Oscars and the Emmys, that's insane. But then
Yeah.
also like Between
Yeah.
Two Ferns is so different from like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but it's still
Yeah.
comedy. I bet they're like, listen, I don't know what the fuck to do with Elon Musk. Can you just like come in here and like just do something? And he was like, I'll try.
And not
It
only
made-
that, you have to direct Elon Musk. Like, imagine that. Imagine that.
I mean, you really are tap dancing around somebody at that point. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense because I will say that I was surprised by the quality of jokes. Like I feel like the one-liners and the jokes, there were a lot of solid ones in there, but
There are.
the storytelling and was all over the place. This was not a well-structured story. It had no emotional investment.
None.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do any favors that there was literally no couch gag or chalkboard gag. It goes straight from Bumblebee
Yeah,
Man to the start of the
wasn't.
episode.
Yeah, that was so. Is that a new thing? Because I gotta be honest, I dropped out probably around season 24 or 25.
So they only ever cut couch gags and chalkboard gags if like the show time run is just like longer
Mm-hmm.
than normal. They'll like cut stuff from the opening sequence and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the 13th episode to not include a couch gag, like ever.
Yeah.
And it's like they'll mostly cut the chalkboard gag because the couch gag is more iconic. But the fact that they just didn't do it, I'm like, this is not doing you any favors, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Also, like so part of the Simpsons episode structuring that like I figured out as a child and as an adult, I got confirmation in Mike Reese's autobiography that this is how they do it. Is they have a false start and then they go into like the 3-act structure of a sitcom. And the opener for this one, I feel like if you needed to cut down the bird sequence,
Dude, I
Yeah,
thought the
that
same
was
thing.
so
I was like, what was the
long.
point of this at
What was-
all?
and it didn't make it like the transformation of basically like we have like the character decisions made no sense. It's like, okay, we have this bird that's eating these other birds, so we're gonna capture it. Okay, we capture it. then Lisa feels bad and the whole family decides to rehabilitate it. Cut to, literally a cut to, 4 weeks later, we love you so much, and then the bird gets incinerated. And it's like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't need this whole thing. You could have done something smaller in like one scene and then just introduced because we all saw the teaser. We know who's going to be on the episode tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to address the Musk in the room. Celebrities in The Simpsons as themselves.
Look with my thumbs down pop up.
I know, I love that. I love it. It's perfect.
The only exception to this rule is Betty White because she can do no wrong.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Or Jennifer Coolidge if she ever goes on The
Oh
Simpsons.
my gosh, I'm shocked.
I would
she
love
hasn't.
that. Why hasn't that happened?
I don't know.
Okay.
That'd be so good.
It's perfect. A missed opportunity. Anywho,
Oh my God, they could totally do like a
like a White Lotus one.
yes, like a White Lotus like parody spinoff.
That'd be so
Somebody
fun.
tag. Somebody
Treehouse of
tag.
Horror XXXXVIIVIX.
Do it.
I would love that. That'd be so funny. Do it. Okay. But yeah, how do we feel about celebrities and The Simpsons playing themselves?
Oh, I mean, that's the thing is that they used to not. I'm struggling to think of an episode from the Golden Age, and I'm sure there is one where a celebrity played themselves. And in an episode like this, where it was like the whole episode was just them, the fact that they were guest starring, because Rodney Dangerfield did Burns' Heir, which is a great episode in my opinion. When they would have a guest star do a whole episode, it seemed like they would really try to write them into a character that had stakes within the world of the show.
Yeah.
And not just not just be like, not just guest star like
Clickbait.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, Meryl Streep as Reverend Lovejoy's daughter.
Yeah.
Albert
That was an
Brooks.
iconic episode. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I can't think of anything either. I think maybe viewership was just going down because there were more TV shows like that were popping up and they had to try to like stay up there somehow. And so the only way to really do that is to get celebrities because then you can get their fans to watch the show and that brings up viewership.
Yeah.
But you could just see the ratings. I mean, they tanked,
Listen, I didn't say that it worked. I said that they tried that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do remember it being right around the 300 episode mark where, and this is all anecdotal, so if somebody out there is a huge Simpsons fan and they want to call me out, I don't have anything to back me up
If you
but
want
my
to
brain.
fight Bish, do it.
If you want to fight Bish, I'm currently sitting at my day job. Please come down. I already deal with enough here. One more thing's not gonna hurt. But I think it was around the 300 episode mark where I really remember because they had Tony Hawk on that episode and a bunch of other celebrities that were just cameos, and I feel like that was definitely the shift. Where it just became much more, and you're right, it's all marketing, it's all getting the people who know the celebrity to watch it, because it's easier to be like, the celebrity's gonna be on The Simpsons than, hey, this celebrity is voicing a character on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you lose so much in the storytelling because you have to introduce this new person who doesn't have a relationship within the story, and you know that they're not going to be there.
Yeah. It also
going forward.
completely changes the world of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Because it was its own world, and now it like has morphed slowly into our world also. And there was something nice about it being its own separate entity with like maybe like slight, similarities thrown in, where it's like, okay, kind of like alternate universe kind of situation. But the fact that they just keep adding in more celebrities and more celebrities, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like it's becoming like too much like our universe now, and it's no longer like special.
Well,
like how McBain is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the world, you know?
That's so
it's
true.
like you can allude. You don't have to get the actual person.
And I think it's gonna be a diatribe. We're just gonna launch in. I'm so passionate about the fact that this completely goes against what The Simpsons was originally intended to do, which was to make fun of sitcoms of the 80s. And the 80s sitcoms would do that, where they would have a guest star come into a live action sitcom, and you would basically have the guest star be the focus and like pull focus of that entire episode, and then the characters around them would just kind of go into whatever that story was and have their little side bits, but it wasn't really that important. And the fact that The Simpsons came out as a dysfunctional American family to parody and satirize those sitcoms, and then now it's come full circle, and it basically is treating guest stars like that is so painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't help that it literally starts the episode with like ass kissing Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Which like this was the Eat My Shorts like this was the punk alternative. This was we forget this is a fucking Gen X show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, this was a sarcastic show that is now just totally like gone the opposite
It's sold out.
direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
It tried
Sold
to
out, man.
It tried to like
God.
to be cool, like one of the youngins, and it
Yeah.
And it was in the 90s. It really, like, I will stand by this. When in its best times, it was making fun of the Reagan era.
oh god, oh my god.
and now it feels very corporate and sad. But I will say, I will stand by the jokes. The Henry Ford joke,
Oh god.
That was a good one.
"You're as bright
It
and
was
vibrant
good.
as Detroit," got me. I was like, that's,
They definitely get in some jabs at him throughout the
Mhm.
episode. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's nice every now and then, you know, like trying to just like shoot him with like 3 snipers.
Who are all just like Civil War veterans.
Right. They all
So
missed him,
old.
but none of them survived because of the backfire.
Yeah.
well, and just the fact that like even I invented a device so my face doesn't have to show emotions. Like you can
Yeah.
hear the writers going like, we know, we're sorry, we're trying to get him
so
just
sorry.
a little bit.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Even his voice had no emotion.
None.
I mean, it was like that was the hardest thing about this episode. I think I maybe watched this episode 5 or 6 times just to try
Oh,
to
I'm
understand
sorry.
what the hell was like he saying, because he was so monotone and mumbly, and I was like, I don't know what you're saying. I'm missing all of the bits.
He does, like, he is diagnosed with autism, and so, like, there
Mhm.
is just, like, something about his personality and demeanor that doesn't really allow for him to, like, emote
Which-
vocally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like I'm okay with that because we all know he's not a voice actor. Like
No,
there's
he's
also
Elon
like
Musk.
plenty of actors out there who are not voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
But still,
But that bothers me with cartoons, though, because this
Mhm.
is the world where everything clips so fast, and it's like when something doesn't belong in that
Mhm.
world, it kind of it's a drag, you know.
You're right.
It's like it slows the episode down. So I found myself like, oh god, I can't hear what he's saying. Okay, like I lost interest a lot, so it was hard to come back to
Yeah.
like that energy just wasn't there. If his energy was there, like in that
Mhm.
Simpsons world of energy,
Mhm.
I feel like, which is kind of ironic talking about, you know, Elon and
Yeah.
energy, but
Mhm.
it's
Wink.
yeah, I think it would have carried a bit more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Any other like fun like things that you liked about this episode? Because we're so negative on the flop sometimes.
I know.
Listen,
There are some
A
things I
lot
actually
of
did
them
like.
deserve it, but like it's always nice to hear what was really funny or what you liked in the flops, because like those are gems.
Some of the jokes are great. I love when Homer says, "Get me my toupee," and it's his bald head with 2 hairs. Like, give me that gag. I'll take that gag. That's a good one.
Squawky, until I met you, I thought I could never love anything bald. I thought that was brilliant. That was a good line. The car stopping at Moe's being like, oops, force of habit.
And then what was it? The Bart. What should we name this bird? Squawky.
Yes.
Which is a Stampy reference. And I'm like, that's great. That's some good old Simpsons callback.
Okay, they say Squawky, and then Homer's like, "Oh, just like how you named Maggie." I don't get it.
I think it's just an E. It's just because he did Stampy and then Squawky and then Maggie.
Okay, I thought it was
Yeah.
like oh, bald eagle squawks. Okay, what's a mag? Like I was like, was she magging? Like I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I just felt so lost there. I'm like, am I dumb?
It was not the cleanest of jokes, but
No, but It was a fun reveal to see Maggie's like expression and reaction.
Definitely.
I thought it was really funny how the professor was like, I loved seeing the professor pop up in this episode. I thought he brought
my
so
God,
much
the
color and
Galvanator.
character. Yes, and then his grief pill, he's like, oh, it attracts women too.
That was really funny.
I liked
Great.
when Homer and Elon are
Just
driving by and Lou and Clancy, and Clancy goes, "Why don't we ever play around like that?" And so Lou throws something at him, and then Clancy's like, and just shoots him.
Shoots him twice.
Shoots him
God,
twice.
Did anybody ever tell you there's a safety on that?
Safety on
There's a
that gun?
safety on this?
That's the trigger.
Oh my God,
Brilliant.
that was such a good moment.
And then there's a very small moment where Smithers is having like a montage of him thinking, and at one point he's in the gym and he's just
Yes.
ripped, like he's so ripped. I
Oh,
was like, okay.
that's a consistent gag that Smithers is like, because there were two things there was like three things in that one tiny moment. One, that Smithers was ripped, and that's like the joke about him. Two, there's the this was more accurate in the 90s, and it sort of aged out of accuracy, I suppose, but like he's secretly gay
Oh yeah,
was like the thing.
Yeah.
So like there was another man behind him. But also that was the most 90s gym I've ever seen. Like
Oh
that
my
gym
God,
had
yes.
wallpaper, and I'm like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
I was like, this is so funny.
Just crazy.
Oh, it was so good. But yeah, I love
Um,
Smithers in this episode. I love Smithers in most things. I think he's fabulous.
yeah.
One of my favorite side characters for sure.
Mm.
When Homer goes to Marge for advice and she's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And it's so genuine. It's like, oof. But then she's like, it's gotten me out of a lot of gym memberships. Like,
And
We should try that.
I feel
yeah.
I feel like they had a meaner joke in there that was the softer take of it.
Yeah.
I love seeing the mouth movements not match up to what they say, and I go, what did they originally have? What did you change?
What was that line that you cut out?
Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
because it was there when you gave this to the animators, and then you changed it afterwards.
And then you went back in and paid a little overtime for somebody to say something different. That
Yup.
had to cost you something.
Burns' little flash of like sissing like a snake with a tongue and everything and a fire coming out of his head. I was like,
So
brilliant.
good.
Love that.
I will say, I really, really admire that this show has been on the air for like 33 years, and they still have not updated Burns. He is still a turn of the century old guy, and I love that. That's amazing, and his humor still works. It's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still stands.
Nobody ages in this show.
Nobody ages well,
Yeah.
but and like even like character wise, even they're pretty solid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's some fluctuations, especially with Homer's character, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty solid cast.
Yeah.
There's a moment at the beginning that just brought me back to The Office when Bart catches the eagle over Homer's head with the garbage bag is very much like when Dwight catches the bat over
That's
Meredith's
right,
head.
over
And I was like,
Meredith's
this is
head.
all I'm seeing right now is just that moment. Because it was like exactly the same.
That was so familiar to me, and I couldn't remember why. But you're right. Yep, that was a great one too. That was a funny callback.
I also have on
Um,
here, like, what was the point of Bart and Lisa driving the car?
Yeah, what was the point? Because it seemed like they were getting. There's so many questions I have with this episode.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were using it as a transition to the power plant board meeting, which was odd. It was an odd way to do that.
Yeah.
You could have just cut to it.
Right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mr. Burns was in this episode. Like, we're also following him. You could have just cut to him as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janice, you were going to say something.
No.
She wasn't. It's okay. No.
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 Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sometimes I'll have a thought and I'll be like, oh.
Okay.
But it's not like a it's not a deep thought or anything. It's just an agreement or like an aha moment.
Okay, good. I thought I cut you off, and I was like,
No,
I'm
no.
such a bitch.
How dare you?
Any fun facts? I couldn't find Jack. Nothing.
I think my fun fact would be Musk probably doesn't remember doing this episode. I bet if you asked him, he would be like, "Oh, okay."
Hey, I liked you on The
Oh my God.
Simpsons.
I was
Okay,
there.
sure.
Okay, yeah.
When did I do The Simpsons? That's great. I really don't have any other facts either. I will say though, I was much harsher my first time watching this one through than I was this last time. This last time I was like,
Mhm.
okay, the jokes really carried it. The plot, no. Like you said, Bish, like the storytelling
Yeah.
of this really it flopped, but the jokes were good and there's some good moments in there and everything, and I didn't give it as much credit as I think it deserved the first time I watched it. I kind of really tuned out with Musk and I was like, oh, this is horrible. Like, why would they have him on? Like, you can't even
Yeah.
like follow what he's saying. Like, the thoughts don't end. I'm like, or they end and then it's like, what? I don't get it. It was almost like AI, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it felt
That's
like
a good
to
way to
me.
put it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what turned me off about it. I was like, this doesn't even feel like it was Musk. It feels like Musk like called in with his AI of himself and was like, I'm going to be efficient about it,
Well,
which would actually be kind of funny, considering, he makes inventions and whatnot, but
and
I
just
have opinions on AI. Yeah.
for the storyline too, and I know that this was 2015 where we had a different opinion of Elon Musk, and we were like, Tesla had stayed out of much of the scandal that it would have years later. But you do really feel like this was run through his team pretty thoroughly, because at the end of the day, the storyline is he makes the world too good.
Yeah.
There was that. Yeah. Like, oh, we pay now for future us later. Or
Also,
for the
like
future.
he put all the power plant workers out of work, and consequences were not dealt with on his end, which I thought was like, ooh, that is maybe that's a subtle critique of billionaires.
Ain't nothing subtle about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one last thing I just wanted to say was that stupid, dumb long shot at the end really made me mad.
I know. I'm like, get me out of here.
I was just sitting there being like, Bowie, I think Bowie was still alive at this point, so I'm glad he got paid for that. But I was like,
Yeah.
Bowie must be so disappointed right now.
We could have had a couch gag,
Like, we could have.
We should have.
And we decided on that? Like,
I feel like that was the theme of the whole episode. We decided on that.
Okay, but here's my question to you guys.
It's true.
Have you seen the Lady Gaga episode?
Yes. So
No.
that is on our list to talk about.
That is
What
our
is yours?
worst rated episode. That's the worst rated episode of The Simpsons ever so far.
I do think the Elon Musk episode is better than it, so I'm agreeing with that.
I have yet to see it. I'm like holding out until that podcast.
I'm ready to rip it apart.
Because
I
I'm
watched
like,
it-
I'm so excited to see how bad it is.
I watched it live at the time, and I was, that was the moment where I think I stopped watching The Simpsons for a little bit because
Oh, man.
Same, Bish, same.
Yeah.
I was like, because I was excited. I was like, oh, Lady Gaga is gonna, I wonder who they're gonna have her play, or I wonder what they're gonna do with her. And it was a huge letdown.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
I also
exciting.
stopped for a while.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
You're here like, oh my god, tell me more. Yes.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be
tell me how
awful.
horrible it
It's
is.
gonna be so bad. I'm so ready.
It's like when somebody, I don't know if you watched Lost as it was coming out, but everybody who
Yes.
did was like so disappointed, and then everybody now who goes back and watches it fresh, the entire thing is
Mhm.
like, it's a great series, and it's just so frustrating. It's like, no, it's disappointing.
Yeah, they
not good.
cheaped out.
They didn't solve anything. Anyway,
Okay.
we were way too invested.
So, do you agree with the 5.4 rating of this episode? Episode? Yay or nay?
I agree with it.
I don't agree with that. I think it should be lower.
Mm.
I think it should be a 3. which I think might be even lower than Gaga.
I think
Yeah.
Gaga's 4.4 or
Yeah.
4 or a
Okay.
solid 4, one of them.
If Gaga's a solid 4, I changed my mind.
Yeah, Gaga's
I would
a
put
solid
this
4.
at like. Thank you for benchmarking that. If Gaga's a solid 4.0, I'm gonna put this at like 4.5.
Okay.
It deserves to be in the low brackets.
What's
for me.
hilarious about that is you put it third to last. So our worst rated episode is a 4. Our second to worst is a 4.4.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's funny. They're like, oh, 4.5.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right with that little cluster.
I still say 3. I think all those episodes should be rated worse than they are.
Yeah.
You're like, do negative numbers count?
Can we do negative? And like, I am the worst when it comes to rating things. I'm terrible at quantifying things, so this is all subjective.
It's all subjective, baby.
Oh yeah.
True.
I think I'd put it down at like a 5, maybe like a solid 5.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's like half. That's like half of the it's a scale of 10. It's like
Stop yelling at me.
That's 50%.
That's still a failing grade.
I guess.
Listen, I come on the show. I tell you you're doing it all wrong.
I am your guest.
What are you gonna do? Cut me off the mic? Oh, wait.
I'm just gonna cut out all your bits, and it'll be just me and Jen.
But then
Nobody wants that.
you can re-edit it so that you say all my jokes and all my bits, and it will like haunt me for the rest of my days.
Oh my god. Brilliant.
My face hurts again.
Yeah. I have written down here, I have no facts. I hated this episode.
That's a fact.
It's a good fact.
Legit.
Nothing.
All right. Should we close this out?
Let's close it out.
Let's do it.
All right. Y'all, thank you so much for listening to Animated Tops and Flops. Thank you, Bish, for joining us.
Oh,
we
thank you.
appreciate you and all of your wisdom and facts. You brought so much to our pod, and we're just so delighted to have you. If you're not following already, we are on Instagram as Animated Tops and Flops. We are on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, do the thing so you know when we release episodes, which is every Monday. And we also have our bracket, which is still going hot. We got opinions. Okay, we are getting to closer and closer to the semifinal round. So
And they're getting
please
so
vote.
hard.
They're getting so hard. The last one we just posted was the March versus the Monorail versus the Springfield Files. And
Ugh,
I know.
hard.
I know.
It's so hard to
so
decide.
hard.
So we have a bracket for the tops and the flops. So help us decide what is the best episode ever and the worst episode ever. Help us decide. Vote on the Instagram polls. It's all good fun, or drop it in the comments. Tell us how you really feel, because we want to know, and we want to see if we agree with our listeners. If we don't, and we love to hear different opinions. So come argue with us. Yeah.
And let's chat about our next episode before we kick out of here. We are going to be discussing our flop. I guess I'm doing flop first. We're going to be discussing our flop, season 9, episode 11, all singing, all dancing, rated at a solid 5. And Bish has opinions.
Opinions.
And our top of that episode will be Cape Fear, season 5, episode 2, rated at a 9.2. So it will be, if you couldn't tell, based on Bish's expressions, very, very fun.
Yes. And we love to talk about tops and flops because you can't win them all. So let's talk about it all.
Oh, it rhymed.
I've been doing that a lot today.
Oh, you little
I got a little
pony.
Dr. Seuss in me. What's going on? Get out of here. What are you doing in my brain? Get out.
Bish, do you want to sign us off?
Sure. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening or viewing, depending on which audience you're in. Join them next time, because that next episode sounds killer, and I'll be listening too. All right, you guys, thanks so much.
Smell you later.